Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Katie, and today I'm doing the It's Finally Fall book tag. So I'm doing this tag a little bit late because everybody's already done theirs, and well, of course a little late to the game, but it's still the beginnings of fall. So, it's fall until pretty much January almost, or the end of December. So we are good to go. So I did not look at these questions really ahead of time, so I will be picking books as I read the questions. So it'll be a surprise for you and for me. So the first question in the tag is, in fall, the air is crisp and clear, a book with a vivid setting. So I really couldn't think of a fall setting book, but it just said a vivid setting. So I'm going with winter. And that is 26 Below by Kimberly Woodhouse. Actually, I think you know what? This actually could be set in mid to late fall. It is October 20th. So just read that. So a fall setting. Although it's freezing temperatures and there's a bird outside that's really loud if you can hear him. But anyways, so 26 Below. It is freezing. It is a cyber hunter series, Alaskan cyber hunter series. Really enjoyed the first book, and I do plan on picking up the second one next year, so I'm very excited. So it was really good, and Kimberly's really great at that frozen Alaskan feel, and you just felt cold reading this book. So that's what I'm going for a vivid setting. The next question is, Nature is Beautiful but Also Dying, a book that is beautifully written but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. And I know the perfect one for this one. I thought of it when I was writing out these questions, so for that one, I'm choosing With Every Memory by Janine Rosh. This is a story about a woman who is in a car accident, and she loses one of her children, as well as she loses pretty much the last, I think it's like 8 years, last 8 years of her memory are completely gone. So she is starting over. It's pretty much a new house where she lives. Her daughter's all grown up. Her daughter's dealing with the grief of losing her brother, as well as kind of losing her mother as well. So it's a really, really grief-driven story, but it's one of my favorites. I really loved the story. I loved the characters in it. And yeah, it's really good. If you have not picked it up, I recommend it highly. Okay, the next question is, Fall is Back to School Season, a nonfiction book that taught you something new. So, if you know me, I do not read a lot of nonfiction. It's not one of my strong points. Aside from reading my Bible, I really read close to zero nonfiction books. I might read like 2 a year, maybe. But I do have one or two that have definitely taught me some things that were new and different. So the one that I'm thinking of is Stepen Me by Terry Irwin. Just being a fan of Steve Irwin since I was like knee-high to a crocodile. Just when I saw this book come out, I picked this up at the library like probably 10 to 15 years ago. Loved it, and I finally bought myself a copy. I was like, I'm not going to wait around forever. I need to pick up a copy of this before it goes out of print, if ever, but I needed it. So this is actually by Terry Irwin, and it's all about their adventures, how they met, how they fell in love, and it's one of my absolute favorite books of all time, as well as probably one of the only nonfiction books that I love. And I love the stories. I love diving more into someone who I loved, and it's really cool that I believe Terry Irwin is a Christian, and I'm sure possibly her whole family is, because she does have Bible verses in here. She does talk about God once in a while in this book. So I loved it, and I loved finding out new stuff about somebody that really had a huge part of my childhood. So really great story, and I really loved it. Okay, so the next question is, I'm looking at my paper. In order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with the people we love. A fictional family, household, or friend group that you would like to be a part of. This friend group right here. I would be best friends with Iris and Brielle, 100%. I think they're both amazing friends and sisters in Christ, and I love both of these girls. This is a Princess Diaries retelling, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great, and yeah, definitely I could see myself being friends with both main characters. Well, Iris gets her own main story in the second book, but these two friends, just the way they have like sleepovers and talk about everything, and I love them both, and I think this would be a great friendship to be a part of. Okay, so the next one is the colorful leaves are piling up on the ground, a pile of fall-covered spines. Okay, so we're gonna have to find some fall colors. Okay, so this is my pile of fall spines. So when I think of fall, I think of red, oranges, and browns because, yeah, things are dying. So, so reds, oranges, and browns. I live in a very colorful area of the US here in New York. So I figure orange is like my favorite color of fall, orange and red. So I figured this is my pile. So I have lots of oranges, a little bit of red in the top book here, but mostly oranges and browns. So I have The Elephant Girl by James Patterson, Ellen Vanda Aku, and Sophia Cravoy. And then I have Collusion of Lies by Tom Threadgill, This Is Where It Ends by Cindy Sproles, The Mercy Tree by Charlene McLaren, Voice of the Ancient by Connellan Cosette, and Mountain Laurel by Lori Benton. So that is my fall spines. Next question is, fall is the perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. A book where somebody is telling a story. I thought of one last night as I was writing this down and I can't remember what it was. Okay, that one took a second to find one, but Under the Tulip Tree by Michelle Shockley. This one is about a woman who is wanting to be a reporter, and she gets a job having to interview people who used to be in the slave trade. And so we are following her as she talks to a girl called is it Raina? No, that's her name. Frankie, who used to be in slavery. And so she's telling her story to this reporter named Lorena. And so we're following kind of a dual timeline, seeing her writing out the story of Frankie's past and how she came to be where she is. And so I really did enjoy this one. It was a really great one. And this was our first buddy read as a group here on YouTube when I did my first readathon last year. Okay, the next prompt is The Nights Are Getting Darker, a dark, creepy read. The only one I go to for stuff like this. I think I'll go with this one. She has so many options, if you don't know who I'm talking about. Jamie Jo Wright. She is the queen of Christian creepiness. Like, she does great at it. So, The Souls of Lost Lake by Jamie Jo Wright. This one was the very first Jamie Jo Wright that I ever read. And it's arguably most people's, what they feel is most creepiest by her. I'd probably agree with that, but her newest release, The Vanishing of Castle Moreau, the one right before her newest one, that one was a close second. That one definitely had some really good creepy feelings. But this one definitely gets you into the creepiness. But in Jamie's books, there's always an explanation behind the creepiness. So this one is about their all due timeline, and this girl named Ren, she is helping her father at who's in the ministry at a youth camp. And at this youth camp area, years ago, there was a girl named Ava Coons, and supposedly she was rumored to have killed her entire family and was found wandering in the woods, coming out with an bloody axe in her hand. So, if that doesn't give you creepy feelings, then yeah, it's definitely a good fall read for sure. Okay, the next question is, The Days Are Getting Colder, a short, heartwarming read that could warm up somebody's cold and rainy day. A short one, though. That's novellas. Or maybe love-inspired, maybe? So I'm going with Buying Love by Toni Shiloh. This is the first book in her... What series is this called? Are you going to tell me? You're not going to tell me. You're not going to tell me. What series this is called? I forgot. But it's book one in a series. I'll put it on the screen. But I love this book. It's so cute. It is a novella, so it's shorter. It just gives you cozy feelings of romance and fall and all the good food and all the romance and love. So this is about a girl named Nina, and she's ready to take the next step in life. She's ready to just, get married, have a kid. That's the next logical step in her life plan. So not God's plan, but her own plan. So she ends up putting in a newspaper article saying, single woman looking for a single man. If you're interested, contact me. So she ends up running into this guy who's very much in need of financial support for his family's restaurant. So he ends up deciding there's a stipend if they do end up getting married that she will give him like a dowry that she has. So they end up meeting and they're like, okay, let's see where this goes. You know, she's had a couple of duds before him, but she finally meets him. They finally get to know each other, and yeah, so not gonna spoil anything, but it's a very cute book. And I also really love these covers, and I think I have the whole series now, so I can binge read the rest of them, although I've been reading them on Kindle. So okay, the next question is, fall returns every year, an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. If you know me, I am not a huge rereader. I'm really, really not a huge rereader. There's just so many good books out there that I want to read. There are a select few that I'd like to. Actually, I am actually looking at one right now that I want to return to, like in the beginning of next year. I don't think I have time this year, but I do want to return to it. So I'm going to grab that one. It was on my book cart behind the camera, but the Star Wars trilogy. This is the Han Solo trilogy by A.C. Crispin. This was one of my favorite series growing up. I am not a super Star Wars fan. I'm not. I might be a super Han Solo fan. Only because I've loved Harrison Ford since I was little, so yeah. But this was one of my favorite series growing up. I don't really like Star Wars books, but this series, on the other hand, though, because it's about Han Solo, I really enjoyed. It was one of my favorites growing up, and I was gifted 2 of these, and I just got the third one, which I think this is the third one, yeah. And I just got this one in the mail that I ordered, and I was like, you know what? It's time to do a reread. So I used to own these books, but they were pretty much falling apart. They were library copies that were at a book sale. So I finally got brand new copies. They're brand new. The spine hasn't even been broken yet. I cannot wait to dive into these in the beginning of next year. Okay, and then the last question is, fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Favorite cozy reading accessories? So the first one, which I didn't even think about until now, is my blanket, which you've seen in multiple vlog videos, I'm sure. But I usually have a blanket on my lap, and it is a blanket that I've had for years. I talked about it on my channel before. I've had it for 20 plus years now, and I love that blanket to pieces, and I will use it until it's a rag, which I honestly don't think it will be because it's lasted over 20 years now, and there's only like 3 holes in it, and they're small. Like, I can find them if like I hold the blanket up, but they're very small. So that blanket will be used until I'm gone, so be handed down to my kids. I also have 2 things that I did bring up. I do have my neck light, which I love. I use this actually for coloring as well at night. If I'm coloring in my lap, in my chair, there's not a whole lot of light where I am, so I use a neck light. And I love this thing so much. Absolutely love it. It works great. It has 3 different brightnesses and 3 different modes, actually. Oh, I was like, where's the mode switch? It's on the back. But it has warm, light, and stuff like that. I think I use the warm light mostly, I think. But I absolutely love it. And yeah, so just goes around your neck. You can turn it on, use it, and it's hands-free. I love this one because it doesn't leave any marks on your book if you're reading a physical book. And yeah, you can do other activities with it. And so yeah, I really love that. And I also brought, of course, something that every book lover should have. Her coffee mug, or in my case, tea mug, because I don't drink coffee. Not really. But my absolutely adorable tea mug, which is Chip. But he's one of my favorites, so I brought him up. Poor little guy, he's losing paint on his nose now. Yeah, there it is. But I love him. He's adorable. And yes, so in a lot of my videos in fall, if I don't forget, a lot of the times I forget because lately I haven't been drinking a ton of tea because it's just the beginning of the season, but I do usually bring a new mug to every single video in fall, so I will try to remember to do that because I like to pre-film as well. So, but he's adorable. He's cute. He's adorable. And I have like 30 mugs, so yeah, that's enough for the whole season probably. Okay, so those were all the questions for It's Finally Fall book tag. I don't know who's been tagged in this video yet, so if you have not done it, consider yourselves tagged. I know a lot of people have done it, so I'm not going to tag anyone because I can't remember who's done it and who hasn't. So if you haven't done it, consider yourself tagged and tag me so I can go over and watch it because I would love to see your your answers, and yeah, it'll be fun. So let me know some of your answers to some of these questions down in the comments. And if you've read any of the books that I mentioned a few that I haven't read yet, at least in the fall colored spine stack. I haven't read a couple of those yet, but I hope you all have a wonderful day. Can't wait to talk about books with you in the comments. I love you all, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.